Welcome to a conversation, not a lecture. A conversation about the final act of life. A performance that is arguably the most subtle, the most complex, and often the most misunderstood. It's rather humorous, isn't it? We spend our entire lives building, accumulating, striving for control. Control over finances, control over career, control over our children. We attempt to be grand architects, erecting an impenetrable fortress of the ego. But then, as these years arrive, as the shadows lengthen, the deepest wisdom reveals a profound truth, the utter futility of that control. The nature of life is like a river. You can try to slow it down, build dams to restrain it. But do you truly control the flow of the water? Or do you merely exhaust yourself with the attempt? Old age is not a decline. It is the luxury of letting go. It is the moment we finally realize life is not about solving an equation. It is about dancing with the equation itself. Within this luxury, there are final burdens that our minds stubbornly continue to clutch. Today we will look at the 5 most useless regrets that old age often holds on to. Not to lament them, but to gently place them down, like autumn leaves that have completed their purpose. The 5 useless regrets that old age still holds. The first regret we must release, the first burden whose futility we must recognize, is the regret over past decisions. We sit there alone in the quiet morning, and the mind of the accountant begins its work. If only I had chosen that path. If only I hadn't said that word. This is a metaphysical joke. Do you realize that the person regretting today is the composite product of all those decisions? You cannot regret a turning point without simultaneously denying the very person you are now. Regretting the past is like trying to go back and edit a movie that has already been packaged and released. That film is you. Look at mistakes not as failures, but as the hills that created the contour of your soul's garden. Every mistake is a type of unique, fertile soil, and it is precisely that which nourished the wisdom tree currently blossoming within you. The second burden is the fear of scarcity. Older adults, especially those who have navigated many storms, often develop an intense anxiety about whether they will have enough money, enough time, enough health for the future. We become obsessed with hoarding. But look, you have survived every difficult day, every crisis you ever feared. If life is a river by this age, you have learned to swim. The fear of scarcity is a denial of your own proven ability to survive. It is like looking at an ancient tree and asking if it has enough water to live on after it has endured hundreds of winters and hundreds of droughts. The tree has proven it knows how to adapt and find sustenance. So have you. Trust the power of the present flow. And here is the third regret, perhaps the most subtle. The clinging to old roles and identity. Upon retirement, when children are grown, we feel a loss because the old self, the director, the doctor, the architect, no longer exists. We try to put on clothes that are too tight. But consider this. A knife is only a tool for cutting. A cup is only a vessel for holding. But a human being is different. This phase is your chance to become a human being who is simply human, no title required, no role necessary. This is not a loss. It is a liberation. It is the moment the butterfly finally escapes the cramped chrysalis of social definition. Your true identity is not the work you did, but your pure presence in this moment. The fourth burden directly related to time, the expectation of a perfect final chapter. We often romanticize the notion that the final years must be absolute stillness, a perfectly composed oil painting of peace. When illness comes, when inconvenience occurs, we become angry. This isn't the ending I planned. This is a spiritual arrogance. Life never stops. Even while you meditate, your mind is a ceaseless river. Old age, like every other phase, is an intertwining of chaos and beauty, a perfectly imperfect acceptance. The beauty is not in creating perfection, but in contemplating life as it unfolds with all its bumps and rough edges. And finally, the fifth regret, the greatest trap the mind sets, the struggle to find life's grand meaning. We spend our lives searching for a grand purpose, a profound philosophical statement to label our existence. As the end approaches, we frantically search for a final lesson to leave behind. But perhaps the greatest meaning is not a lesson, but the experience itself. Look at a flower blooming. What is its meaning? It is its color, its fragrance, its blossoming. The flower does not require a philosophical degree to justify its existence. Your life is the same. It is a masterpiece in itself, a dance of the universe. Let go of the need to explain your life and begin simply to live it in this moment. And here is the pivot. These burdens, these useless regrets are not enemies. They are our greatest teachers. When we face the regret of the past, we no longer see a failure, but an invitation to return to the present. Regret is clear evidence that the individual ego is still trying to dissect time into fragments, past for lamenting, future for worrying. But old age is not the end. It is the final act of awareness. It is the moment when, if we allow it, control dissolves and letting go takes center stage. This is the time when the ego, bound by title, by name, by achievements, can finally rest. As those things fall away like the autumn leaves, what remains is the naked but strong trunk of the tree, deeply connected to the earth. Metaphysical conclusion: the eternity of the present. Consider this: what is called time is a convenient tool created by our minds. But for the universe there is no past or future, only an eternity of now. When you practice the letting go of old age, you are doing something profoundly metaphysical. You are merging with that eternity. You are not a person passing through time. You are time. You are not a drop of water flowing toward the ocean. You are the ocean. Letting go is the highest act of meditation. It is the acknowledgement that you do not need to do anything else to be whole. You do not need to prove anything else to be meaningful. In the emptiness, shunyata, of that release, there is an absolute beauty, a peace that no achievement or wealth can buy. The letting go of old age, paradoxically, is the universe finding itself again through your quietness and awareness. Let that presence radiate. We've talked about 5 useless burdens, but have we truly felt their weight and the liberation as they dissolve? Take the example of the regret over past decisions, burden number 1. We often look at those crossroads and think, that's where I went wrong. But what is wrong? Wrong is a judgment, a notion imposed on the simple truth of what has happened. Imagine life as calligraphy. You cannot erase the strokes already made. Every line of ink, whether clumsy or refined, contributes to the whole. Regret is like criticizing the brush for not drawing a perfect straight line on a canvas that requires the flow of a curve. It is precisely the decisions you call mistakes that taught you about the flexibility of the soul that created the wise wrinkles on your face and in your heart. You don't have to love those mistakes, but you must be grateful to them for leading you exactly here, right now. It is a metaphysical acceptance of destiny, not a passive resignation, but an active harmony with the great flow. And here is the connection to the second burden, the fear of scarcity. When we fear that we will not have enough money, enough time, enough health, we are locking ourselves into a philosophy of lack. That philosophy says the universe is a small pie and you must scramble for your slice. But the truth is, the universe is an endless flow. The fear of scarcity does not arise from objective reality, but from constant comparison and clinging to the future. Take a deep breath and realize this fear is stealing the only wealth you truly possess, which is the present moment. Even if your body is weakening, that is a reality you can face with stillness. When you accept the truth that everything is changing, you will find that the scarcity you fear is only the scarcity of a fixed state. And fixation, as we know, is something that never exists in this dancing universe. Now let's return to the clinging to old roles and identity, the third burden. This is a deep attachment to the socially recognized self, the self that wore the mask of the job, the title. When you let go of those things, an emptiness occurs, a frightening silence. But in Eastern philosophy, emptiness, shunyata, is not nothingness, it is infinite potential. Think of a ceramic vase. Where is the vase's value? In the clay that forms it, or in the void within it that allows it to contain? Your old identity is the clay. It is the form. But when you strip away those labels, you discover the great void within. That is where true creativity, the stillness unbound by role, begins to shine. You are not losing yourself. You are returning to your unformed nature, a nature that can contain all experiences without needing to name them. And when we talk about the expectation of a perfect final chapter, the fourth burden, we are confronting the illusion of completion. We want a beautiful ending, an elegant and peaceful epilogue. But life is not a Hollywood novel. It is a haiku poem, short, concise, sometimes awkward, but always containing a deep truth about the moment. The inconvenience of old age, the aches, the sudden forgetfulness, are not saboteurs of your peace. On the contrary, they are the bells calling you back to the present. They say, do not run from the truth of this body, of this moment. Peace is not the absence of chaos, but the ability to dance within that chaos, accepting every event that comes and goes, like clouds in the sky of the mind. The perfection of the final chapter is the perfection of accepting imperfection. Finally, the release of the struggle to find life's grand meaning, the fifth burden. This is the moment the philosopher must be silent. When you let go of the need for a labeled meaning, life becomes an art. You are no longer searching for a reason to exist. You are simply existing brilliantly and fully. Look at the morning sun, listen to the birds singing, feel the warmth of the blanket. What is the meaning of those things? Their meaning is their very being. Your life, when released from the need to justify itself, becomes like a poem without footnotes, a piece of music without explanation. It is self-sufficient and self-completing. So let us pause. There is no need to rush. There is no need to achieve a new state of enlightenment. The letting go of old age is not an exercise, but a realization that you have always been the person you were trying to become. Relax, breathe, and dissolve into the eternal flow of the present. You have finished your work. Now is the time to rest in your own magnificence. If these reflections have helped you set down even a small burden, if they have given you a glimpse into the true luxury of this phase, please consider supporting this conversation. Press the subscribe button and the like button on this video. Your small action will help these philosophical whispers reach other kindred spirits seeking tranquility. Thank you for participating in this dance of letting go. And remember, there is nothing to attain, nothing to control. There is only presence.
Et le bouton j'aime de cette vidéo. Votre petite action aidera ces murmures philosophiques à atteindre d'autres esprits apparentés en quête de tranquillité. Merci de participer à cette danse du lâcher-prise. Et rappelez-vous, il n'y a rien à atteindre, rien à contrôler. Il n'y a que la présence.